Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Tia Haslam, and thank you for joining us in today's webinar. I would like to welcome you to our Never Stop Learning webinar series on Dynamics Association Blueprint. This is a live session brought to you by Serum Dynamics, one of the largest Microsoft Gold partner in Canada, 2019 Microsoft Impact Award winner, and a member of Microsoft Global Inner Circle Partners for Business Application in 2019 and 2020. Now, before we begin our webinar, I would like to take you through some guidelines. To ensure that everyone can listen to the presentation, we have muted all the lines, and if you would like to ask questions, please use the chat or question function on your control panel, and we will address them at the end of the presentation. So in today's webinar, you will be introduced to our Dynamics Association Blueprint Solutions, or DAB, powered by Microsoft Dynamics. DAB can provide benefits to member-based organizations and a variety of other associations. Dynamic Association Blueprint is designed to meet the unique needs of membership association. I'm very excited today to have Eric Garnham, our Business Development Manager, presenting for us today, and I hope you enjoyed the webinar. Now I would like to invite Eric to begin his presentation.
Good morning, everybody, and good afternoon for those joining from different time zones. Thank you very much for taking the time with us today. We're very excited to show you what that impact that Dynamics can have on your organization. I'm just going to kick things off quickly here with a little bit about myself as a presentation for you. So my name is Eric Garnham. I'm the Business Development Manager here at CRM Dynamics, but my focus is really on our Dynamics Blueprint. I'll get to a little bit more about what that is, but as well working with associations, non-for-profits and charities, or any other member-based organizations. Furthermore, our quick launch blueprints, which again, I'll get some more detail as to what these blueprints are. And then lastly, focus in higher education. But really something I always like to say, and instead of focusing on sometimes the software, the little pieces, it's the most exciting to think about software when we're considering the impact that it will have. And if it's not going to have an impact on either yourself, your members, or your daily process, then it probably isn't the system for you. So we really want that to have purpose behind when we make changes like this. So our agenda for today, we've already gone through a quick introduction to myself. I'll go through a quick company profile, so this is who we are. We want to talk about the common issues and really why you're here. What are the commonalities amongst yourselves that bring together the association blueprint? And then what are the blueprint features in general? We'll go through the product description, and I'm hoping to spend a lot of time within the actual system itself to show you and give you a feel of what it would actually be like to use it. So we'll do things like their Office 365 integration, specifically looking at Outlook integration. We'll look at the CRM functionality itself, as well as some of the Power BI functionality, the Power Business Intelligence, and the value that it has. And then lastly, the customer-facing portal, or the self-serve portal. It's going to add a lot of value to yourself and to the members. And then lastly, we have a lot of time for questions, comments, and feedback. So if there's anything we want to discuss further, please do utilize the chat function today, and we can have a discussion at the end. So who are we? Because it is an important decision to take a look at both partner that you're picking on top of the platform that you do decide with. So we are Gold Certified Microsoft partner located here in Toronto in Canada, and we have more than 60 consultants there, and resources are solely focused on Dynamics 365. Something key that happened last year, a key piece of last year I'd like to mention, is that we were awarded the 2019 Microsoft Impact Award. And so this isn't for the largest amount of sales or growth or revenue and things like that. Again, it's the largest impact made on an organization by implementing Dynamics, and we're very, very proud of that. And the other piece is that we became part of Microsoft's Inner Circle. So that's an honor that only 1% of partners receive globally. And again, we're very proud to be a part of that. On to the Dynamics Blueprint. What is a blueprint? And so we found ourselves building custom solutions for many different industries, and there were commonalities amongst these organizations. So what we've done is we've taken these common needs and issues and brought them together into industry solutions. So for example, we have a quick launch blueprint that helps you get up and running into Dynamics in a cost-effective way. We have a credit union blueprint, which I'm sure you can allude to what that represents. And we have a grant management blueprint. So there are many, many more and many more industries. If you're curious, please do inquire about those. But in this case, what we've done is we've created a one integrated system and experience for the members and for the organization itself in our association blueprint. And that's what we're going to talk about today. A blueprint is really like starting 10K race, but starting at the 8K point and being able to just take what we call a fit gap analysis, and we're going to take a small jump and see what we need to do to bring you that last kilometer or two to finish the race. So it's like beginning with 80%, 90% of the tools that you need, and we just make that last little bit to your process and your needs. So why are you here today, and what brings you all together? What are these common issues that we face as this type of an organization? So common issues that we face that fits with the association blueprint would be things like a lapse in membership. And there can be many different ways or many different reasons as to why a membership may lapse. It could be a process around the renewal. It could be a painstaking process for the member itself. It could simply be a matter of chasing down those members every year come renewal time if it's something you do with checks or calling the members to get a credit card over the phone. So things like that will really help with. Another big issue is fragmented data. So across multiple platforms, having to enter your data in 3, 4, sometimes a dozen places to make sure that you have accurate data across these places as well. But as well, it's these systems aren't integrated and they're not speaking to each other. And so it's increasing the time and effort it takes to do very simple things. Next is the level of self-serve capabilities. And so it's more important than ever with the digital changes in any organization to be able to provide self-serve capabilities. So with the portal, you're able to have members manage their own events and attendance to these events, manage their own profile with simple things like their address or phone number changes, maybe an update as to how they like to be communicated with to make sure your castle comply. You can have them manage their membership, whether it be renewals, different types of memberships, or a different way to pay so it fits their lifestyle and helps you retain that member. Being able to self-serve open cases or let you know when there's an issue, so there's a proper routing system and organization around that case management. And lastly here, the storefront. So you have e-commerce capability to be able to provide products or events or courses, maybe different aspects of your organization. And that leads us to the next issue, which is a lack of digital payment gateway. So adding that value for your members to have options of how to pay with a completely PCI compliant gateway, so there's no concern on your end, and it adds value for the member. The next is a lack of quality relevant marketing. I'm sure you can all relate to organizations that you've said that you've allowed to have your email where you receive 3 or 4 emails of non-relevant information or relevant information, I should say. And once you start to receive these emails 4 or 5 in, you're going to stop opening them. You're going to start thinking that this organization does not provide for you valuable information. But if you were able to control, for example, that you want to receive information about webinars instead of the newsletter or any industry updates, but you see exactly what you like to see, it's going to increase the value of the content that those members are receiving. The next piece is visibility and reporting, and having the visibility to understand and having the reporting to make those key decisions on what's going on within the organization. So whether it be the next point, unresolved cases or opportunities for growth in your organization, but you don't have visibility to be able to understand those decisions that need to be made. It's a very, very key aspect. And then it leads to the last piece, which is the unresolved cases and tickets. In this age, it is more important than ever to have good customer service and good value for your members to make sure that they're getting what they need. So if a member does arise a case or they create a ticket for themselves, to make sure that that gets handled, to make sure that it's understood what that member needs. So if these sort of things sound like you, or these sound like common issues within your organization, whether it's one or all 7 of them, this probably is a good solution for yourself, and we'll take a little bit deeper here now. So what kind of features does the association blueprint have that's actually helping you here in this case? So we have looked at member management, which of course we need. So being able to sort these members by type or level and accommodate different types of fees or when these are due, and as well having automation around those payments to make sure you retain those members and keep it easy for them. We have event management, where you're able to have an event calendar within your portal, so both from your side and their side, it's easy to manage events. We have a storefront where your clients or your members are able to make purchases, to purchase product, like I said, or maybe even purchase a course or a program, online webinar that they need to attend. Continuing education. So it's easy to track your members' continuing education requirements. And so if they're taking courses, if they're watching videos for you, even reward this engagement for them with accreditations or things like that within your organization. Information sharing, where, as I mentioned before, it's very key to give the people information that's important to them. So being able to manage the list in which they're receiving, and then of course be able to manage their own or manage how they are contacted to ensure that you're CASEL compliant throughout the entire process. And the last feature here on this screen, we have fundraising and donor management. So for those of you that are fundraising and receiving donations, we have the ability to help you with that, and it can handle any donations or fundraising that you're doing. Security. So both from a cloud-based security model as well as internal security among users is top of mind for ourselves and Microsoft. So amongst your users, if there are certain pieces that we don't want people to see, we can easily do that with security roles, depending on who you'd like to see what. So that's very easy to manage. Membership directory, either within your own organization on the CRM side or customer-facing member directory, whether that's needed to be logged in for members or if it's public-facing on the website, we can help you create a directory as well. The entire system is multilingual ready, so fully functional in English, French, Spanish, and other languages as well. So if you do have needs there, we can help you with multiple languages. One thing we're not going to look a ton at today would be, or at all today, is the Dynamics marketing integration. You'll see the next point here with Office 365. Dynamics marketing is a very robust solution. It will require an entire webinar just today to talk about that alone. So if that is where your focus is and that's where your interest lies, please let us know. We'll make sure that you get the information that you need on a personal note. But I will talk about the Office 365 integration there. We'll be talking about the Outlook integration today, which you'll see how fantastic it is. There are other integrations like Teams and other tools that really make Dynamics 365 and Office 365 integrating work together really like no other system. The next piece, one of the most important pieces of the entire solution, is the portal and member website. And so we talked about the self-serve capability there. The value is immense, and you're able to do a lot with your members, and they're able to do a lot for themselves that previously would require a lot of work on your organization's end. And the last piece here I talked about is finance and performance reporting. So with the use of standard reporting as well, Power BI, you're able to get the visibility you need to make those key decisions at key times. Before we jump into the demo itself, I just want to take a moment to talk about some of the current users, some of the current organizations that are using the platform. Now, I won't go into depth as to each of these implementations and how they went, but please, if you have a curiosity or any of these, again, please reach out to us. We can give you more detail about each of these projects. A very notable one is Big Brothers Big Sisters. The reason I like to use this as an example is because they have many, many different locations that all have unique parts about them. They all need to operate under the same umbrella. So we've helped them keep the uniqueness of each location whilst working together as a larger organization. And the next one is the Canadian Professional Sales Association, which we have a strong partnership with. And they're using it to manage their members. They're using the self-serve portal, taking advantage of a lot of the automation as well and other aspects of the association blueprint. Next, we have the Canadian Chiropractic Protective Association, again, using it to manage their members and self-serve in the portal, manage those automatic renewals and other aspects of the association blueprint. And then we have here the Ontario Brain Injury Association as well. So you can see many different associations, both from a national and provincial perspective, and as well in other countries and different types of not-for-profit. And the last two here we'll talk about is Able Pest Control, which is also utilizing aspects of the association blueprint. And lastly, the Canadian Mental Health Association, again, using it for managing their members with a self-serve portal, but really taking advantage of some of the things like our marketing solution, our call center support, and as well as many of the other ones, Power BI. So without any further ado, I'd like to take you into the system itself and walk you through what it would be like to use Dynamics. So the first thing we're going to start here with is in Outlook. So many of you start your day within Outlook, and if not, you're starting within CRM, likely. So this will look very familiar to many of you, standard desktop Outlook. One thing that is different here, you'll notice in the upper right-hand corner, is the Dynamics button. So we have an open email here, classic email we would get from a member that would like to upgrade their membership from Basic to Premium. Now, this may be something they can do on their own. It may be something that currently they need to call in, or you need to walk them through some steps on their end. What I'm going to do in this case, I'm just going to click the Dynamics button here. And what it's going to do is open up my Dynamics CRM within I'm going to see if there's any current contact information or anything on this particular person. So we can see that Shubi actually does have a contact within the system. Currently, I'm just going to untrack that there so we can show you how that's done. We currently have a contact within the system here. What I'm going to do to start things off to make sure that I have this tracked is I'm actually going to track this regarding the company that we know she works at. So she works at Dunder Mifflin. We're going to have that tracked so we can see on the account later on that we've had this activity done. We'll show on the CRM side how those connect later on. If there was not a contact or there was not an account created around this person, I would simply hit the plus button here, create an account, or create a contact with the information that I have. In this case here, I'm actually going to create a case so that way I can route this to somebody else. If it's not something that you do, but you have an email come routed to you, you can create a case. So we plug in the customer's detail, the case's title, and this is the important part I want you to pay attention for, is the subject line. So the subject line can be done with queries or services, or the case type can be changed. And this is where we can get a great automatic route done. So the person that's supposed to handle this can. So if it's based on a subject, if you have someone that handles queries and someone that handles service, you can simply click those and it will be routed to the appropriate person and they'll get a notification if they've been assigned a case. In this particular situation though, I'm actually going to close this here and handle this right now. So that would be, for example, if you didn't want to handle it yourself. In this case, I do want to help Shubi right here on this membership. So I'm going to go ahead and hit reply to her email. I'm going to reopen my Dynamics pane in that corner here. It's going to open my pane on the right-hand side. I'm going to take advantage of some of the customer service capabilities there. So when there are a lot of common issues or common emails that you get all the time, you can create knowledge articles around these subjects. And so that way it's very easy to help these people. So if you have a common question that comes in all the time, like new membership, I'm going to add in, you can see a new membership knowledge article. I'm going to select that. And it's going to populate right within that email for me. The link at the top where she needs to go to do so, and as well detailed instructions on how to actually upgrade that membership. So you can see how fast and easy that was instead of going through that process with her and trying to help her either over the phone or type up a fresh email and include pictures and things like that. So just within Dynamics or just within Outlook, you can see how much you can do and how much can be linked back to your CRM. So now we're going to step over into the CRM environment itself. So we've started here on a dashboard. And this is, if you're not starting your day within your Outlook, you're likely starting your day on a dashboard. So a little bit about dashboards themselves, and they can be customized or configured, I should say, to see whatever it is that user needs to see. So if you were a customer service rep and you wanted to do a personal dashboard, you'd likely have a dashboard that shows you all of the current cases, cases opened in the last 7 days maybe, and then maybe cases by what the subject line could be, so that you have a dashboard that shows you what is relevant to you. In this case, I'm going to show you a Power BI dashboard that's actually built for management, so you can get a high-level view of the entire organization. This is focused on the members, as you can see, but also the renewals and applications throughout the year. So I want to take a moment to show you the value of Power BI here. As you can see, we have a report, but the value of Power BI, you can drill down into each of these months and the rest of the table will reflect. So if I want to know, if you'd like to know what was going on just in January of this last year, we can see that we had 18 applications and 6 new members in the lower left-hand corner here. As the months go on, we have 20, increased to 9. So you can see we're handling that volume, not a large increase of applications pending approval, and that's our red bar here. But as we get into the year and our applications really start to rise, like in May, for example, 36 applications, we don't have more members, we're seeing a large increase of pending approval. This problem continues into June, and what we're seeing is that we can't handle the process of these large volumes of applications. And it's not as though that we're rejecting more members, really. It's as though we are having more members pending approval. So if we had an improved process around accepting these members, we may actually have a higher growth that year. So decisions take back and be made when we're able to see the data. Another thing that's very notable on this here is that we have currently 1,670 members. But you'll notice that 200 members were actually lapsed in this past year. And so if we can have, if we can understand how many members are lapsing and the reasons for that, we can look to drive this number down over time, retain more members while we focus on growth. So it's very valuable to get these types of reports on what's going on within your organization. One more piece I'm going to show here for Power BI to continue to value. And one of the great things about Power BI is that you can connect to multiple different data sources. So you're able to report on things that are not stored within your CRM. So it can really help you with different things. We've seen associations report with government data to help show their value and help improve funding for future years. But in this case, you can actually speak to the system with Dictate, or you can actually write in plain English a question that you'd like to have with your data. So in this case, I could write something like expected renewals, and it's going to show me my expected renewals. And I'd like to see that by month so I can understand how it is laid out throughout the year. And then because everybody likes pie, let's go ahead and say we'd like to see that pie chart to see how it's distributed throughout the year. And so it's relatively even, but we can see that we have large months like April and January, and a few smaller months like November to help us. So if this was a valuable piece of data for me, I could simply take that visual, pin it to my existing dashboard that you just saw, or if I have a new weekly meeting or a new weekly report that I generate, I can create a new dashboard and start to pin these visuals to that there. All right, I'm going to come back over into our CRM side here and just take a moment to talk about the navigation around the system. So you've seen the dashboard itself and some of the functionality across the top bar here. The real focus is on the left-hand side, where you're going to see all of the different entities that you can access. So in this case, for associations, you're going to have your accounts and contacts, your leads, opportunities, applications, and memberships. As we get down, we have different things like your service module as well. So for example, if you had somebody that did not do any service, any case management whatsoever, you could have these things hidden so they only see the information or the entities that are relevant to them. And it makes a nice clean system that focuses on what's important to them. In this case here, I'm going to bring us over into the contact screen. Many of the member-based organizations are focused on individuals, but keep in mind that what I'm about to show you is very applicable to if you focus on members as organizations or accounts instead. So as we jump into the contacts here, I'm doing a list of all of my contacts, and that can be quite daunting if you'd like to make some simple changes or things like that within the system. So what we're going to do is show you some of the integrations we have to very familiar tools that you use already. So in this case, we have Excel as a template to be able to export. So if I wanted to make a change on all of these, simple change, it would be very difficult to go through. So what I'm going to do is open up an Excel. I'm actually going to get all of that data in Excel online. I can make any updates or changes to the maximum amount of records and simply save it back to my CRM. So that way those changes are going to be made. If I wanted to make changes or I wanted to see the data without making changes to the system, I could easily export that offline into a static table and it wouldn't make any changes back to my system. And as well, just for anybody that's concerned, you can lock that ability down with security rules, so you're not able to export data unless you have permission to do so. So bringing ourselves back to the contact screen here, I'm going to search for a particular contact, and we're going to dive into one of our more active members here, Michael Scott. So when you first view the contact record, you're going to see traditional and general information on the left-hand side here, like their name, the company they belong to. You can see that he referred to the other member from Dunder Mifflin as well. You can see any phone numbers they may have. As we come into the center pane here, we can see all the invoices and current memberships that they carry, or any past memberships they carry as well. And if we scroll down on the screen, we're even going to see all of the event participation, or if they were an exhibitor at an event, if they had any additional invoices or purchases. And then important here for engagement in your community is accreditations. And so you can see that he received 10 points of accreditation for maybe it was referring of a member or engaging in an activity or event of some kind. And you can provide value for your members. For example, if you were to receive 100 points, he gets a free attendance to an event, or he may receive a free product or discount of some kind from your organization. The last thing on this record here would be the timeline. And what that's going to do is show you what's been going on with this contact in particular. So if there's anything changed or if there's any updates to the system, you can see that Michael is referred should be as a premium member. may have something to do with the email we saw earlier. And then as well, you can see that he had accreditation added for participation. So we can set accreditation down here. Just a quick timeline as to what's going on within that contact. I mentioned before 360-degree view of the member, and really that's very important to be able to understand everything that's going on with that member. So in this case here, I'm going to look at the opportunities, the applications, and the cases. So we understand that Michael Scott has a new opportunity here to upgrade your membership. So somebody in memberships or somebody focused on growth would be speaking to him about that opportunity. He has an application here to become a platinum member or a board member within your organization, so we can know that that's going on. And then it's very important to understand that he has multiple cases open. So if they had an opportunity here, someone could understand that there was actually a lot of customer service being done for this person, or vice versa. If someone was handling a case for them, you can understand that there's an active sales cycle or opportunity for them as a new member. The last tab I'm going to go to here will be addresses. And I'd like to showcase this quickly just for our Bing Maps integration or Google Maps integration. This really helps you keep clean data. So sometimes addresses can be inaccurate or different things like that. So what we can do, and I'm just going to type in our address here of our office, 58 Ambler Drive, Mississauga. So you can see that came up as an actual point from the integration, and I can click on that there, and it will fill in a lot of information for myself below. There will be a map to load here, but in the interest of time, I'll show you that on a different screen. So backing off the address screen, I'm just going back to the contact record here to talk about some of the integrations. So we talked about the Google Maps and Bing Maps integration. Two other great pieces here. I touched on the accreditations quickly, and that's with the Vimeo integration for videos. And then the last piece is our authorized.net integration. So I'd like to just quickly click into this membership record right here, their invoice. We'll just give a moment for the system to catch up with us here. We're going to click into our membership record there and talk about a little bit about authorized.net. So a common problem we've seen with organizations is the slow or manual, or despite the lack of options around renewals and membership payment and payment in general. And we're seeing that as an issue for lapsing memberships or having an issue of growth. So with the integration of authorized.net, really opens up the options for yourself and your members. So if your member would like to pay or get a 1 or 3 or 5 year membership, that's possible. If they like to pay bi-weekly, monthly, annually, or biannually, however it is that fits their lifestyle to help them continue to support your organization or help your organization continue to support them. Of course, this is completely PCI compliant. We've made sure it's easily configurable to handle what you need to do with it. And then the last one, which is a really nice cherry on top, invoices are all sent out automatically here. So that could really help with some of the manual administration work on the back end. So coming back to our general membership or our general contact record here of our member, I'm just going to take a quick second to show you that you can get the same 360-degree view if you're thinking of things from an account perspective instead of a contact individual. So in this case, I'm going to click on Dunder Mifflin. And Dunder Mifflin is going to give me their general information that we talked about before, the contact record. I'm going to skip timeline in the middle, and you'll notice that we have an email there that was tracked to this account. So just from with that small interaction in Outlook, I now know that there is an email and a new membership upgrade coming onto this account, which is a great thing to understand. We can see any of the contacts or recent opportunities and cases that are within this company in particular. And there's our map of the particular office located in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Just to give you an idea that the 360-degree view is available wherever you choose to look. So if you were looking at a case, you would see any other associated cases or contacts or opportunities. If you're looking at an opportunity, you would see the best that's relevant for you. So at any point, you have a 360-degree view of what's going on within that member, account, or contact. All right, so next piece, we're going to jump straight over into the membership portal. So this would be like logging into the system on your website. They hit sign in. For example, it would just be a portal dot, your standard website name. According to the member, they never left your website at all. So we have a few things we can do right off the bat here from this. We can scroll down and take a look at some of the features that are available within the portal. But for a moment, I'm going to pretend as though I'm not a member. I need to actually join for the first time. So I'm going to click our join now. and go through what it would be like to join as a new member. So it's going to bring up options for me as to the type of membership I'd like to select. You can increase that number. This all can be very easily configured to look and feel exactly how you'd like it to. We add the information like our email, first name, last name, and all of this is going to be pushed back to create a contact record within our CRM for us. And then, of course, with our credit card added into our PCA plan gateway, we have no concern about payment happening here as well. In this case, though, I'm going to go back and actually sign in as our member, Michael Scott. What this will do is we'll bring us into the back end to understand some more of what this member can actually do to help themselves and self-serve. So let's take a look at Michael Scott's profile here. So right off the bat, we can understand we can change our password or email or any of our basic information that may be done right now through a phone call or needing to send an email to have things information updated. So this can all be done on its own. And then a fantastic piece at the bottom here is making sure that we get relevant information to them. And I've brought this up a few times here. So what would this client like to hear? What would this member like to hear about? Is it something important to them? Is the newsletters, the events, marketing emails, promotions? And this can be a list of many different things or specific subject matter that person may be interested in. Then, of course, we remain CASL compliant. We have how we're allowed to contact them. And that's managed by them as well. So if they do want to deselect it, they're able to. Let's come back to our homepage here and look at some of the other functionality that we have. So if I come down to the features here, we can see that the person can manage and renew their own membership right from there. So if that's something that they haven't done or you'd like it to be something they're notified about instead of automatic renewal, they can renew their membership there. They're able to submit a ticket right from the website itself. So let's take a quick look here and what that would be like. So the person would fill in the title as to what's going on. And you'll see this is familiar, our case type, our subject line. So not only can we internally make sure this is the right person, we can set it up as though, so if there's somebody that manages members versus somebody that manages maintenance or just general information, we can make sure that goes to the right person without having to actually write that manually anyway. So this person would fill in their information, add any files. If there's a particular screenshot or an invoice or a document that's a question here, they can add that in. And they would submit it and would create a case on our CRM side and notify the person responsible for handling that. Back to our homepage. We can continue here with our community forums or project sharing. So it's fantastic to share documents amongst your community or share projects that are going on or good news, and we can create threads and feeds for people to comment and share that information. It really helps create that community feeling if we're adding value and information for them. And allowing them to communicate with each other as well, allowing members to share valuable information with each other. So you can make it so that that document needs to be published by yourself, or you can actually allow members to have the ability to upload it themselves and go straight to publication. Continuing on here, we can make a donation. So a simple donation ad, whether it's in someone's name or just out of the goodness of their heart. We're going forward to our Learning Academy here. You may know, some of you may be aware of the Learning Academy available on our website. Hours and hours of great content. It's very valuable to have that for your clients or members so we can have publications, videos, or different content within our Learning Academy. You can buy merchandise, which I'll get to in just a moment on how that would look like. And then lastly, we can register for events. So it's very valuable to have an events calendar, an event screen within your self-service portal to increase the ability of your members going and managing that themselves. So we can see here for April 2020, we've got an event on the calendar here. So I'm going to just click on that event and see what's going on. So we've got our 2020 International Convention, and I'd like to attend that. So I'm just going to hit my plus button here. I have my general admission, VIP admission. So I consider myself a VIP in this case here, and I'd like to bring a friend. So I'm going to add 2 tickets to our VIP admission. I've added those to the shopping cart because I'd like to attend the event. But before I go ahead and check out of my shopping cart here, I decided I wanted to purchase something for the event. So whether it be a t-shirt, a mug, it could be a book or a course that you need to have before the event actually takes place. But in this case, I'm just looking for a nice CRMD mug to add into my purchase. So we can see here that I've actually got tickets and my mug here in my shopping cart. I'm able to edit my quantities if I wanted to add more or take more off. So you can see I've got 2 mugs. I actually just need one. I can make a quick edit there. And just to save us the time of the actual processing, I won't go for it to pay. But you can see how the shopping cart and the e-commerce works with event management as well. And that concludes the overview of our portal as well. So please, if there are any questions either on the Outlook side, the CRM side, or the portal side, please do use the chat functionality and let us know if there's any areas that we'd like to go into further depth on, or we can help you on a personal note, as I mentioned earlier. Excuse me, going back to my deck here, just an overview of what we were able to see there. So you were able to see member management. Quite an obvious one here, but we were able to see how we can actually manage these members, get a really good view and overview of what's going on within their membership, but also provide value to them to make sure that they can manage their membership the way that works for them. There's event management from the portal side of things and how you can seamlessly accept registrations, track the attendance numbers, and accept payments all within the portal, and other great ways from the CRM side to manage those events as well. We've seen the storefront and how you can handle e-commerce with a PCI compliant payment gateway. We've seen the ability to continue education, so whether it's accrediting your members for doing so, whether it's having access to a learning academy or other aspects of other courses for your members to take. Information sharing, we've talked about how important this is, so managing the CASL compliance in the correct way, but also making sure that the information is relevant so it's valuable to that member. Fundraising and donor management, a simple piece here, but just the ability to be able to manage and track those donors and appreciate what they do. And again, you can even provide accreditations or value back to your members for doing so. Security, we talked about the ability to have security roles within your users to make sure that each of those users only sees what they want, what you want them to see, or each of them has just a clean view of the environment so that they can only focus on the things that they need to focus on. Our membership directory is not something we showed today, but both from the portal side and the CRM side, you're able to have a searchable directory of all your members. And again, you can make this public facing, or you can make it so it needs to be something you're signed in for. We're multilingual ready. We just showed English today, but as well, we can provide French and Spanish and many other languages as long as you work with us to get those done. The Office 365 integration, so you can see how much can be done within Outlook. So for many of you, that's a very familiar place to be already. It's a tool that you're already using. It would be the next step to having a one integrated system is to bring your Office 365 integration with Dynamics. And as I mentioned with Dynamics marketing, the information is very vast. So if we want to get into more detail about marketing itself, please reach out to us and we'll make sure that you get the information that you need. The portal and member website, probably one of the most key pieces of this entire solution. And you're seeing a lot of value there in how you're able to have self-serve capabilities, but also help your members be the member that they want to be, have the experience that they need as the member. And so people are members for different reasons. We want to make sure we cater to those. And the last piece here, finance and performance reporting. We've seen the Power BI and alluded to some of the other reporting tools, how important it is to have that visibility to your organization so you can make those key decisions at key times and really help your organization grow. So now is time for a quick discussion. I just wanted to lead us off here into our discussion with a few points. So some of you may be wondering, how do you know if you need Dynamics Association Blueprint? Is this something that would work for my organization? So we had a list about 7 main issues that are coming up before. Of those, the 3 main things we find is the lapsing of membership. So a very manual process, or painstaking process for either the member or the association themselves. With fragmented data, we've seen organizations with many, many different platforms. So it's very difficult for you to work with them all these different platforms. And so that's one thing. And the last is the lack of self-serve capability. So events, profile, the membership cases, and the storefront as well. So that is alluding to if there's an opportunity for you within Dynamics Blueprint. The next piece, I'll just quickly mention these, is how you get started. Is if this is something that you're curious about, but you're not quite sure where to start, please reach out to us. What we'll do is conduct that gap analysis for you, see if there's areas of the blueprint that you may need or not need, and make it tailored to your process and your organization. And the last piece here, although we haven't talked pricing, some people may immediately think, I love this, but I can't afford it. What can I do? And so there are many different ways to get into Dynamics. There's a slight stigma against Dynamics that it may be for large enterprise organizations, but it's just not that way anymore. And there are great ways, entry points into Dynamics to start building that one integrated system that you're looking for. So talk to us about our quick launch blueprint. Talk to us about our options and how we can help you through time get to the solution that you're looking for without making compromises. Now, I'd like to open it up to yourself. If there's any questions we have, or if there's anything else to add, please do at this time.
Hi, Eric. Hi, this is Tia. Yes, we do have a question. One of our participants is asking, within our organizations, we have 18 distinct committees. Many of our members serve on one or more committees. Does this system have the ability to manage committee memberships?
Great question. I think that was from Colin McCown here. So thank you, Colin. Now, so this question is great. So many members have, or they have 18 distinct committees. Many of the members serve one or more committees. So how do we organize this within the system itself? We do have the ability to have parent and child accounts and hierarchies within the system, which is a great way to organize this. And members can belong to many different organizations within the system. And if need be, we can simply have a committee entity as well for you. So there would be a separate entity, contacts, accounts, and committees. And then we could have these contacts and members belong to these committees for you. So there's a few different ways we can handle that, but it would not be an issue. We just have to find the way that your organization likes to organize that and work with you to bring them to the system.
Great, thanks, Eric. So I don't see any additional question. I wanted to let all the participants know that the recorded version from today's webinar will be available in our YouTube channel at CRM Dynamics CA. You can subscribe, share, and like our channel to learn more about Microsoft Dynamics 365 or other relevant D365 topics. We also have Eric contact information on screen. If you have any questions, additional questions, inquiries, please contact Eric, or you could always email us at experts@crmdynamics.ca or visit our website at crmdynamics.com. Thank you again, Eric, for your time, and thank you everybody for taking the time to participate in our webinar, and have a Dynamics day. Bye for now.
Thank you very much, Tia. Thank you everybody very much. Take care.